You didn't think we were orderly enough? You didn't think we were orderly enough already?
We have, but most people are acting very sedate tonight. That's okay. First item on the agenda, welcome introductions and so forth. Those who don't know me, I'm Ed Jensen, the chairman this year around, and I'm the chairman of the Board of Selectmen in the town of Rollinsford, and I grew up for 34 years to Durham as a professor at the university, so I know about your landscaping over there.
Oh, yeah.
And so let's go what that 9 o'clock wise and introduce you to who you are and where who you represent or whatever.
My name is Brandon Anderson and I represent Durham. And I've been doing this since fall, beginning of fall.
My name is Jamie Calderwood. I just came because I saw the ad in the newspaper. I'm a landscape architect. I've been working with Appledore Engineering, Wagner Engineering. They're both located in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, for the past 25 years or so. And I'm just really interested in seeing what's happening.
Thank you.
I'm Paul Eaton, Commissioner from the town of Strafford.
No, he's going on.
Okay. I thought you were missed.
Ken Ortman, Director of Planning and Development for the City of Rochester.
Bob Jaff in Rochester.
Kyle Pimentel, Regional Planner here at Strafford Regional Planning.
And I'm Ed Comeau from Brookfield.
And Cynthia Copeland from Strafford Regional.
Aaron Martin, Strafford Regional Planning.
Okay, welcome everyone. Second item, we're going to have a public hearing. And it says that Chairman will open this public hearing, and the first, well, it's 2.1 is to open the public hearing for the coastal grant application. And Kyle will speak on that topic.
Yeah. So on your first attachment in your packets is the our draft coastal grant application, and I'm just going to go over this quickly. The way that we have this set up, it's a project, the investment and how it's going to be split up. Coastal grants are 50-50, so the coastal funds are going to match 50% of that, and the matching funds are going to be made up between either dues or a local in-kind match from the communities that we're working with. Our first project is going to be with Durham, Madbury, Dover, and Rollinsford, and that's going to be assembling these community data sets, and that's assisting the risk map program that FEMA is doing. And what they're in the middle of doing right now is remapping the entire 100-year floodplain for the coastal communities in New Hampshire. So we're partnering up with them and UNH and Granite in getting them an inventory. And the scope of work is going to be collecting things like high water marks, critical infrastructure, any engineering studies that were done, past flood events in flood-prone areas, looking at any completed projects, whether that's drainage improvements, curbing, sidewalk, installation of catch basins, removing of dams, repairs to culverts, bridges, and also looking at future land use, development trends, and any construction that are going to be in that floodplain. The last coastal grant that we had, we completed a pilot, which we did all of Newmarket, and right now we're waiting to hear back from Granite on how that data was received and if we can sort of streamline it for the remainder for communities. The next project is with Durham, and we're going to be working with them to write a climate adaptation chapter, and that's going to be adopted into their 2012 hazard mitigation plan as a separate chapter. And we're going to be looking at climate change, sea level rise, and ways to, and strategies to keep people safe. So that's going to be something that we're working with them. Another project is going to be for in between the Chico and Lamprey River watersheds. There was a fluvial erosion assessment that was done this past summer, and we're not sure which community we're going to work with yet, but we've reached out to the city of Dover, and what we're going to do is an education and outreach, maybe put together a fact sheet explaining to all riverfront owners what FEH hazards are, their impacts, potential planning techniques to reduce these hazards. We're also going to offer technical assistance with mapping. We're going to look at land use analysis and possibly conduct a vulnerability assessment. And then the last, is, if they want to go that far, is to add some sort of fluvial erosion hazard language into either their site plan reviews or their master plans. We always do a press release each year. It's to highlight one of our coastal communities, a project's chosen that has something to do with environmental issues in concern that's in the coastal region. Last year we did Newmarket and the culvert assessments that were completed in the summer. Another project is water group meetings, and we wanted to set some funding aside for staff to attend these meetings. There are a ton of water groups that are out there, whether there are local advisory committees, watershed associations, alliances, Salmon Falls Collaborative, and we'd like to get to some of those meetings and offer assistance. It's a good way to promote ourselves, help out with any mapping that needs to be done, but there are usually 2 to 3 meetings a month that it's hard for us to get there and it's hard for us to fund it, so we thought that setting this aside would be a good way to get out to work with some of those committees. The next project is the Comprehensive Shorelines Act education, which is now the Shoreline Water Quality Protection Act. That's going to be another public outreach, and we want to make sure that all municipalities know that of July 2011, there has been a major change to that act. Change is a strong word. I would almost say a major cutback to that act. We want to make sure that municipalities know what the state is requiring, and if they want to go ahead to develop local ordinances that are more stringent than the state. For anyone that doesn't know what the Shoreline Act covers, it's all lakes, ponds, and impoundments that are over 10 acres, fourth order streams, designated rivers, and all waters that are subject to the ebb and flow of the tide, so tidal marshes, estuaries. It's all covered. Next project is a land use chapter update in Newmarket, and we're going to be updating their master plan land use and future land use chapter to include climate adaptation and resiliency focus. And the last part is just reporting that we have to do quarterly, invoices, document meeting times, and then a final report that will go to the coastal program. And if anybody has any questions specifically on these projects, after the meeting's over, now or afterwards, we can talk about more specifically.
You notice you have the climate change adaptation. You do some work with both Durham and Newmarket. Just curious, are there other towns that approach to about this kind of work, or are they kind of at the forefront?
Durham
is the towns on the seacoast are definitely looking at like Seabrook.
Seabrook, yeah, for sure. I think they've actually, in 2009, came up with a similar plan. But so far, Durham's been the first to approach that they want something to be put in their hazard mitigation plan. Newmarket too. So far, we haven't heard from other towns if they want to go that route as far as climate change is concerned. Those two seem to be in front of everybody else so far.
Something like Seabrook would obviously have to
Right.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, just use it as an example. There's a bit of background.
Other questions, comments? We'll close the hearing. Call for further comments or input.
The only other thing I'll say is that the total amount is just under $30,000 is what we're going to ask for. So the coastal grant would cover about $13,000, and we'll make up the other $13,000 between dues and matching in-kind match.
So that matching funds, would that be asked to pay
Their
that?
time.
Oh, in kind, okay.
In-kind for dues paying and cash for non-dues paying.
Just wanted to comment on the Comprehensive Shoreline Act of Education. The state has done some of that. going
Yep.
to a presentation at Northwood.
We actually had one here in this room
Yep.
about a week ago.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Okay.
They are going out, I think Jay,
Really good.
you,
That's very interesting.
he's got a great presentation. He's actually coming to our, another source water protection workshop that we're having here in March. And he has gone throughout the state, but we're still finding that communities aren't, not all of them are up to date on it, so. But DES has done a pretty good job with getting the word out there.
Okay, in conformity with the agenda, I will now call the public hearing to a close. Okay, moving on. Agenda item 3, action items. Said I'm going to ask for motions. So 3.1, draft minutes of the November 3rd, 2011 meeting.
Mr. Chair, for the record, we need to, what is the official language?
Well, according to our bylaws, because we don't officially have forms, but this, we updated these or amended them on November 18th, 2010. The commissioners voted to accept the form so that if this happens, in circumstances when a quorum is not present and when commission action is essential, the chairman may declare a quorum with unanimous approval of those commissioners present. And that's the situation we have tonight.
Yeah, for those of you who may have arrived lately, the Strafford County delegation is meeting tonight, and that was rescheduled due to the snowstorm a week or so ago, and so we have 6 members there tonight. So that's why we are in this situation, and the issue that it applies to the approval of the coastal grant application and also to the dues. We could hold off on the draft minutes until another meeting, but it's up to you. So your option is to call the question, call whether there's essential business that needs to be taken care of, and then if everyone agrees, then it is a quorum. Am I saying that correctly?
We need to establish first that we have a quorum.
So pursuant to our bylaws, I'll make a motion that we declare a quorum.
Second.
I hear a second. Been moved and seconded that we declare a quorum. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you need to make sure it's unanimous. according to
Yes,
the bylaws.
it was unanimous, everyone was in favor. I'm all good.
Okay, good. Okay, so we now proceed forward under the understanding that we have a quorum for this meeting, so declared and voted by the members here. So draft minutes of November 3rd. What's your pleasure?
Move to accept. Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept. Any corrections, deletion? Ready for the question? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? No? Okay, good, thank you. 3.2 is the FY 2012 Coastal Program Grant Application that we just heard about. Do I hear a motion on that?
Mr. Chair, for purposes of discussion, I'll make a motion that we need to authorize the submission of the grant application. Is that what we do? That would be my motion. I will second.
And you will second it. Now we're open for discussion on the motion. Hearing no call to discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those abstaining? Passes unanimously. Thank you. 3.3, FY 2013 Adjusted Strafford Regional Planning Commission dues. Cynthia, will speak on this topic.
I thought you were just going to call for the motion. So you, at your meeting in September, approved,
November 3rd.
well, we started
September,
yeah,
sorry.
at the September meeting, and that included, the original fiscal year 2013 included a per capita rate that use the June 2010 to June 2011 U.S. city average all items, and the increase was 3.6% CPI, which, after some consideration and listening to the dialogue and conversations that were happening in our communities within this region, it just didn't seem right to proceed with that at this time because of the financial constraints that communities are under right now. So the executive committee considered taking the dues back to the level, the per capita rate from 2011, and they recommended that to the commission, but we did not have this item on the agenda. We had a quorum, but we did not have the item on the agenda, so therefore it couldn't be voted on. So they were considered at the commission meeting on November 3rd. So they're brought to you tonight on January 26th, the adjusted dues, which takes us down to $5,700 with that change. So it goes back to the per capita rate from 2011, which I think was the same from 9, 10, and 11. So that's what that's what you considered at your November meeting and was recommended to you to adjust by the executive committee. So that's my report.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
are you entertaining a motion?
Yes.
I would like to preface my motion. I unfortunately was out of town and missed the 2 meetings that Cynthia was referring to. Had I been here, I would not have supported going back to the 2011 news numbers. My experience in working in the public sector for a long period of time is that that we get no benefit from bending over backwards trying to skimp and cut back and not provide the kinds of services that we need to provide. And that you know, if we would get credit for sort of holding back and thank you for doing that, that would be one thing. But at some point in time, we're going to have to make up because costs are increasing. We have to just cover the bottom line. My feeling is it's better to do it a little bit at a time and recognize the fact that costs increase. So I would have voted against it. However, given the fact that that's the sense of the organization, letters have gone out, I'm going to make a motion that we endorse the decision that was made and the discussion that followed, that we stay with those 2011 dues. I know the letter that went out reflected the fact to the communities that we're doing this. I think next year when we approach this issue again, we're going to need to make sure that we talk about it. These are tough times for everybody, but the fact is that there aren't a lot of things that are going down in price. And the cost of keeping this organization going and doing the things that we're supposed to do, there's no exception to the fact that our costs increase. And eventually we get to the point where without enough funding, we can't do the things that we're supposed to do. So I'm very concerned about that. Sorry to make my motion so long. The motion itself, I just want to give you some context, but my motion is to endorse the decision and the discussion.
Your second motion.
I'll second this.
Can I have discussion?
If we have a second.
We now decide.
Since this change, how effective has the lowering of the dues been for the towns that have decided not to pay dues? Have they changed their mind?
We're actually in active discussion with the city of Dover right now.
Is that the only town that is going to be considered?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm curious when you get the dues numbers and the totals, you must budget based on not expecting dues from certain communities.
That's
right?
correct, yes.
So does it matter here if this is reflected that it goes into the budget?
No, we have about 85,000 this year.
85,000 total out of that. So there's actually a fair number of communities in that.
This year we had 4 and now we have 5. So,
We're hoping to get back to 4.
yeah, we're hoping to get back to 4.
Ken made a good point, and I very actively supported this year's decision. But based on what Ken said in my own earlier discussions, I'd like to put out for discussion at this point the possibility of putting out a letter in the not too distant future informing everybody that their dues will go up next time. Let's set the framework now, and I think education and reinforcement will help get us there rather than coming into the last minute and announcing higher dues. I think there's 2 pieces to that, if you will. By trying to prep early and prepare people, I think we stand a better chance of successfully raising dues with fewer objections. So again, just an idea I wanted to put forth now. I am not making a motion, I'm not changing what's said, but I think there are 2 very good sides here, and I understand both. And I think we need to be proactive about preparing for what we need to do.
Anyone else have contribution before I call the vote? If not, I will proceed to call the question. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those who have abstained? Unanimous. This just body here tonight, we have the awesome cast of representing all the Hampshire communities. Thank you.
And we do have working relationships with all of the communities that aren't dues-paying members right now. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for them to come back. Yes.
That raises a question. I don't remember ever asking the question or hearing it answered. Are there any communities who feel they would be willing to participate at a lower rate? Or is it an absolute yes-no thing for those who are not participating?
That's been a discussion at the executive committee, because that was one of the parameters that was brought forward by Dover. So if I remember correctly, at the executive committee, we said no, or you said no. The consensus or sense was no. You know, not to do the half steps.
I'm not saying we do. I'm asking if that's been an objection from the non-participating committee. Is there a sense that they would participate at a lower? I'm not suggesting we change. I'm just trying to understand why they're not participating. Is it they don't want to pay at all, or they think it's too much? That's the bottom line.
I'd rather not discuss the Dover situation right now because it's in flux.
If I could just comment my perception. One of the things, you made a point earlier, and I was going to bring this up under other business decisions. Brought this up, I'll give you this train of thought just for a moment. One of the reasons why I think there are some communities that are not supported is because they don't see the value. And the trick then becomes, how do you help people see the value? And I think there are a variety of ways, and at the executive committee level, we talked about ways in which we can not just come in once a year and ask for money, but on a regular basis show some value. So for example, one of the things that I'm hoping we're going to be able to do is presentations, like, for example, what's happening tonight. If this gets recorded in a way that I can make available to the folks that run the government channel in Rochester, so that the government channel person can have something that's going to be useful to play during blank times when they otherwise wouldn't have a meeting to replay or something of that sort, that there are a number of issues that people might find interesting and educational that come as a result of our affiliation with the Regional Planning Commission. And there are a number of other things, and I think that's one of the points of what Ed is doing as well, is making sure that more people are aware of what we do. So my sense is that tied in with what you're saying, is not only a good idea for communities that are members to sort of remind them of what we're doing, but also it becomes a way of packaging some things and saying to a community, if you're a member, here are some of the benefits that come from it. So, I think you raised a good point, one that we've been struggling with for a while, and any good ideas about how we can more effectively demonstrate the value, I think is really important. And just as one final sort of note, there is a bill for the legislature that is, the intent of which is to eliminate regional planning commissions. And if you look throughout the state, 91% of the communities in the state of New Hampshire are members of regional planning commissions. That says that 9 out of 10 communities see that there is value. 1 out of 10, for whatever reason, does not. And I think that part of what we need to, and we also anticipate that at the hearing, we will have folks testifying either in writing or in person from the Department of Transportation, Department of Environmental Services, Department of Resources and Economic Development, indicating the way in which the collaborative relationship accomplishes things in the state that need to be accomplished, that couldn't be accomplished if regional planning commissions didn't exist. So the issue that you're raising, I think, is an issue that needs to be discussed on several different fronts. So thank you very much for bringing it up and giving me the opportunity to get on my soapbox.
We try to use the federal funds that we receive, where we have to be fair and equitable to everyone, to keep the door open and to provide services to the communities that are non-members. So we're working with them on very specific projects, such as safe routes to school, hazard mitigation. So those everyone has access to, and we try to reestablish the relationship through that process. And it also keeps us compliant with federal regulations, which is very important.
Just to give a tongue-in-cheek analysis of this, looking at the change in population, there seems to be an inverse relationship, perhaps, I don't know what the correlation, coefficient, correlation and so forth is here, but if you have the population declining, it tends to be a tendency to stay with the regional planning, and those communities who are growing have decided to go on their own. And I'm not picking on any town, I'm just saying if you look at the raw data and get some pseudo-academic analysis here, we might find something interesting.
Did you say voodoo economics or pseudo?
It would be voodoo economics.
Which communities do not participate in these right now?
Oh, Dover, Farmington, Milton, Wakefield, Brookfield. And that's in the order that they left.
You say
Anyhow.
Dover, Farmington, Milton, Brookfield, Wakefield.
Brookfield, Wakefield.
Just curious.
Okay, any positive, now to offset my pseudo-voodoo. Hearing no questions, I will go back to being serious, and I'll call the question on the motion. All those in favor?
Oh.
Wait a minute.
I thought you already voted.
We already did that.
Yeah, you did.
I don't care where we are. Strike that from the
I like that.
Okay, so we want to go on to something.
Fun.
Cynthia,
Yeah.
expert on landscaping.
No, we have an expert with us tonight.
Environmental protection is here, and members of the audience are encouraged to correct her if there are any landscaping errors that would note.
Oh, I look forward to that.
Huh?
All right, so I'm just going to stand up. Just is a little easier, but I'll stay right here so I'll be near the mic. So first of all, I want to say that I'm not a landscape architect, so I'm really glad that there's a landscape architect with many years of experience here this evening. However, I am a gardener, and I've been a gardener for multiple years, and most of the photos that I'm going to be showing this evening are photos that I took on my walks. I live in the town of Newmarket, and this is the property that I live on, and it's right on the Lamprey River, and this is serpentine walk that goes down to a dock, and it's a public area. This is actually a